Never stop reading the Bible. Today, we're diving into the first 5 chapters of the book of Hosea. And let me tell you, you'll want to buckle up. This is a raw, emotional story about betrayal, about divine grief, and about a love that just absolutely refuses to give up. All set while a nation is just teetering on the brink of total disaster. So the very first thing you need to know is a massive clue, and it's hidden right in the prophet's name, Hosea. It actually means salvation. Now you might think, salvation? Really? Especially after you hear the tough message he's about to deliver. But trust me, it's a huge signpost pointing to where this whole story is ultimately going. He's speaking to the northern kingdom of Israel at a time when they were, believe it or not, incredibly wealthy, but spiritually they were in a deep, deep crisis. So how does God get their attention when they've stopped listening? Well, it's not with another lecture. It's with something way more personal. It's a living, breathing, heartbreaking parable, a broken marriage. And this is the command. I mean, it is one of the most jarring, shocking instructions you'll find anywhere in the Bible. God tells his prophet Hosea to go and marry a woman he knows is going to be unfaithful. Why on earth would he do that? Well, the text tells us exactly why. For like an adulterous wife, this land is guilty of unfaithfulness to the Lord. Hosea's private pain was about to become a very public mirror for an entire nation to look into. So Hosea's journey just unfolds in these 3 incredibly painful acts of obedience. First, he does it. He marries Gomer, the promiscuous woman. Second, they have kids, and their names are basically living, breathing warning signs to the whole nation. And then third, and this is the part that's just unbelievable, after she leaves him, after she hits rock bottom, God tells Hosea to go find her, buy her back out of slavery, and love her again. And right here is where it all clicks into place. The metaphor becomes crystal clear. You've got Hosea, the loving, faithful husband. He's the stand-in for God. And Gomer, the unfaithful wife, well, she represents Israel. Hosea's personal agony is just a tiny glimpse of God's own grief. And that final act, buying her back, it's this powerful, unforgettable picture of God's relentless commitment to his people, no matter what. Okay, so after setting this gut-wrenching personal stage, the story makes a hard pivot. It moves from Hosea's family tragedy to a direct public accusation against the entire nation. And here was the real problem. You see, under their king, Jeroboam II, Israel was at the absolute peak of its power. They were rich, their military was strong. On the outside, everything looked amazing. But on the inside, their spiritual integrity had completely hit rock bottom. All that prosperity had somehow made them forget where it all came from in the first place. And Hosea, he does not hold back with his descriptions. He just unloads this barrage of powerful, negative pictures to get his point across. He says the people are like a promiscuous wife, always chasing after other lovers, or like a stubborn heifer that digs in its heels and refuses to be guided. He even calls them a senseless dove, just kind of fluttering aimlessly between superpowers like Egypt and Assyria, trusting anyone and everyone except God. So you have to ask, what is the root cause of all this dysfunction? Well, Hosea drills way past all the symptoms and gives one core diagnosis: a profound absence of knowledge. It really all comes down to this one central phrase. This is Hosea's thesis statement, if you will. The reason for the injustice, the corruption, the idolatry, it all flows from this single devastating failure. There is no knowledge of God in the land. But we've got to be really clear about what this knowledge actually means. We're not talking about passing a theology test or just knowing a bunch of facts about God. The Hebrew word here for know implies something so much deeper, a personal, intimate relationship. It's about faithfulness, loyalty, the kind of connection you'd find in a healthy marriage. That's what was missing. It was a complete relational breakdown. And when that relationship broke down, the consequences were just catastrophic. I mean, the priests, the very people who were supposed to teach, they failed completely. Pride and corruption just became the way things were done. People started worshiping idols, and maybe even worse, they started to believe that all their wealth and success came from their own cleverness, their own hard work. The whole fabric of their society was just unraveling. Okay, I know this all sounds incredibly bleak, but hang on, because this isn't just a story about condemnation. The final message here reveals the shocking purpose behind God's fierce judgment, and it's all about discipline and ultimately restoration. This part of the book really pulls back the curtain on this central tension in God's heart. On one side, yes, there is judgment. It's the painful, necessary consequence of their choices. But on the other side, there's compassion. And that's the ultimate goal. The judgment isn't the point, it's the tool God has to use to bring his people back home. At the end of the day, God's discipline, as tough as it is meant to be healing. Think of it like a painful surgery. The goal isn't to harm the patient, it's to remove the cancer that's killing them. The goal is always restoration, to wake the people up and get them ready for a renewed, healthy relationship with him. And that really leaves us with the central question of the book of Hosea. When we face the consequences of our own choices, do we see it as a final punishment, a dead end? Or could it be what Hosea is suggesting, the severe, painful mercy of a brand new beginning? And that's our look at the first 5 chapters of Hosea. Thanks so much for joining me. This has been a production of the Center Studio.